Hi, it's me. Am I being seen? Audio test, camera test, chat window test, and hi, it's me back with another video game stream. And this time I'm playing Pragmata demo. It seems to be flooding my YouTube feeds. Uh, and since it's a free demo, might as well try giving it a shot. See whether my potato computer can handle it. And since it's compounding shaders, the audio feedback I receive, it's like I'm talking in a robot voice. Great, Cradle. I'll take this as the loading screen and let's see if there's anything else I need to consider for the start of the stream. Blink test 1000, 2000, 3000. So let's resume the date air until the start of the game.
He tried to generally speak in a clearly defined, consistent, and orderly way. Alright, so we've seen how change in speaking styles can affect airflow, timing, and vowels. There will be more things that speaking style can affect, but I strongly believe that rather than trying to pinpoint and address every one of these individually, it's much better, at least initially, trying to get a general feel for the Japanese speaking style. Thus, I'd like to end this lesson by listening to a few more back-to-back recordings of Japanese and English speaking style. Again, this may come across as a bit vague, but the important thing here is to get a general feel for how the two styles differ. Okay, are you ready? Let's listen. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. どっちが好きですかどっちが好きですかどっちが好きですかどっちが好きですかどっちが好きですかどっちが好きですか Hi, how are you? 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 よろしくお願いします。よろしくお願いします。よろしくお願いします。よろしくお願いします。よろしくお願いします。よろしくお願いします。I like my job. I 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 like my job. So how did it go? Are you starting to get a feel for the defined, consistent, and orderly Japanese speaking style? Naturally, there are many exceptions to this speaking style that I talk about later in the series, such as devoicing, becoming, etc. But again, generally speaking, your Japanese will sound much more natural if you try to speak in a clearly defined, consistent, and orderly manner. This is especially true if you come from an American English background, in which people tend to speak in a very relaxed, flexible, and free way. Starting today, try and pay attention to speaking style. You'll almost certainly start to notice immediately major differences between Japanese speaking style and American English speaking style. And once you start to notice these differences, your ability to unconsciously and naturally replicate Japanese speaking style will improve dramatically. Alright guys, that's all for this episode. I hope you found it useful. For the next lesson of Japanese phonetics, please see the link below this video. Thank you all very much for your continued support. I look forward to speaking with you again soon. Alright, so that's the lesson. I hope you guys found it useful. Some of you may have noticed this, but the speaker in this video, while 100% fluent in both languages and again, very knowledgeable on this topic, she wasn't brought up in a bilingual environment, so there might have been a couple of instances in which her not 100% native English pronunciation was contributing to the differences in speaking style, but I still think that she does an excellent job of illustrating the general, kind of the macro differences between standard Japanese speaking style and again, American English speaking style. One final thing I'd like to mention, I kind of said this in the video multiple times, but never explicitly, so I'd like to do so now, and this is that language is not just speaking, listening, reading, and writing. It's also character and culture. That is to say, if you have two people who have identical pitch accent and pronunciation and speaking style, but one of them uses more Japanese mannerisms and has kind of a stereotypical Japanese personality, so maybe they're generally humble and agreeable, that person's Japanese in most circumstances is going to come across as more natural to native speakers, despite the fact that the sounds themselves are identical. I think that when we see a completely bilingual speaker switch languages, because we're typically taught to concentrate on the sounds when it comes to language, we become conscious of the differences in speaking style, maybe even if we aren't able to articulate what those differences are. And then also, we're unconscious of the smaller differences in the way that the speaker might hold themselves based on the differences in the two cultures where that language came from. And then I think what happens is we kind of attribute all of these differences to what we say that person's self changed, or sometimes we say now that person's personality changed. That's kind of the point that I'm trying to make. That language doesn't exist in a vacuum, that it's inherently linked to the culture that it comes from. And that because of this, the more Japanese that you are across the board, the more natural every single individual aspect of your Japanese, including your spoken Japanese, will say, or it shouldn't change your personality to the point where it becomes uncomfortable. There are the guidelines that we just learned about. And say when there are many Japanese people who aren't particularly humble or agreeable. But if you become conscious of the general trends of spoken Japanese, as well as the general trends and characteristics of Japanese culture, especially early on, that can help tremendously. So once again, Japanese is generally spoken in a defined, consistent, and orderly manner, and in Japan it's generally favorable to act in a humble and agreeable way. When you put these two things together, that can account for a whole lot of that bullshit. So I give a big discount off of annual subscriptions to Japanese phonetics. If you found this video helpful, you'll probably find the rest of the series helpful as well, so please consider signing up. Make video coming soon. Sayonara.そう、同じサイズの頭をお願いして、ちょっと待ってくださいねとか言ってください。何体いるのかわかんないけど、全部名前ついてるやつ。そんな感じの。
Wait, is the program actually running? Why is it still stuck at 50%? Okay, animations are still moving. Should I be relieved?
Avatar is a fascinating franchise. Not so much the quality of its movies per se, but rather their puzzling lack of long-term impact upon the public consciousness. As this is despite both movies being enormous financial successes. Indeed, a pair of very few significant financial successes that Disney have had in the last decade plus. And yet, despite this, the movies have had practically zero cultural relevance. There have been pornos with greater mimetic value than the Avatar movies. And so, with a third entry in the series on the way, this is about the perfect time to talk about the remarkable lack of impact the movies have had on the populace at large. Now, there are two main reasons for this. The first and most obvious is that it took way too long for the second movie to come out. 13 years. But the second and more important reason is that subconsciously, the audience knows deep down that the humans did nothing wrong. A point we shall, of course, expand upon further, and the movies put a lot of effort into making it seem as if the humans did just that. In fact, as if the humans did a lot of things very, very wrong indeed. But first, the cultural impact or near complete lack thereof deserves a closer investigation. As less than a year after either one's release, they were all but completely forgotten. Indeed, the only mentions of the Avatar franchise today is, well, talking about the next movie rather than reminiscing about the previous ones. Compare that to, say, The Joker, or Top Gun Maverick, or, to take another example, Helldivers 2. Normally, entertainment that touches hundreds of millions of people leaves a deep and immediately observable imprint on culture via memes, via online discussions, etc. But not Avatar. Where are the Avatar memes, the spin-off projects, the fan content? Look at the Avatar Reddit, for example. 700,000 people, 42 of which are online. And of course, spin-off projects. Avatar has received 2 games, both getting mixed to negative reviews, and the latest one, Frontiers of Pandora, was a disaster comparable to invading Russia in winter, reaching a pathetic peak of 2,600 players online. How is that even possible? This franchise has earned $5 billion in movie tickets, but no one wants to play a game based on it? How? Why? This is particularly peculiar when you also take into consideration Avatar's one actual cultural phenomenon, fittingly named PADS, Post-Avatar Depression Syndrome. Yeah, it's not a tremendously great sign, but the only legacy the movie has is people feeling depressed after leaving the theater. But on the bright side, by that point, they've already left their admission fees behind, so what does James Cameron care? But seriously though, how in the name of tentacle tail rape does this make any sense? On the one hand, people are so sad that they are not a 12-foot tall blue cat alien that they get depression. But at the same time, nobody wants to play the game where you are a 12-foot tall cat alien. This does not compute. But the answer to the question, well, it's both easier and more complicated than one might think. The reason for the failure of Frontiers of Pandora is because of representation. And I mean the actual representation here, not DEI. I mean the way that the Na'vi, the indigenous kitty cats, are portrayed opposite the humans. In a game, you will necessarily need to immerse yourself into the role of a Na'vi in this case. Now, this is already a pretty big ask, as it is difficult to get people to side with the opposition against their own kind, which is what is happening in Avatar. The giant blue furries are the good guys, the little humans are the comically evil monsters. The vast majority of us are automatically programmed, which sympathize with our own. Indeed, the recent phenomenon of certain political organizations actually developing a greater outer group preference, is a near unique phenomenon in the history of humanity. But our has to be just that, to favor outer group. And so it goes to great lengths to make sure that the Navi are viewed as interesting, as adventurous, and as good as possible. But that is the problem. You see, the Navi are not the good guys. There is something subtly deeply wrong with the way they are portrayed, as they are indeed unofficially declared to be the straight up and out heroes of the movies. You are occasionally film if you want, as a passive observer who are simply told and shown the story. And at first blush, it does indeed seem as if the brave brunettes are fighting against the exploited humans. But countless of things no one subconscious, until many, most people even, eventually conclude more or less obviously that the roles were in fact reversed. This is the reason why the movies do incredibly well. It is a simple experience, limited. You purchase a ticket, and you watch the pretty computer animated pseudo-phase backs of that for a minute. The brief exposure and narrated nature of the ride means your English subconscious can largely be ignored. But in a game, you are far more actively immersed and for a longer period of time as well. That seeking sensation that all is not as it should be becomes harder and harder to ignore. While most people are eager and happy to visit Pandora, they don't want to live there. So let's get to the meat of it, shall we? Why the humans did nothing wrong with it. And that is one human, the true criminal all along, namely the traitor, Sully. When we first meet Jake, he's clearly practiced Lois Emma, an ex-Marine wounded in combat. He looks to use his legs and the pedal purpose in life. He lives on veterans' benefits and gets into bar fights. And that is likely all he would have ever done, were it not for the death of his brother. Jake's sibling had undertaken long and difficult training, both physically and mentally, to qualify for the RDA's Avatar program. A ludicrously expensive project intended to project a human consciousness into an avatar, a Navi body. The avatar must necessarily use the consciousness and nervous system. So when Jake's brother passed away, it's remarkably blasé. EA sees an opportunity to salvage their investment into the avatar by recruiting Jake. This was a terrible mistake. Whilst Jake may share his brother's genetics, he has none of his training, none of his tact, and most importantly of all, Jake has absolutely no interest in being an ambassador. As he himself says, all I want is a single thing for fighting. Jake is looking for a fight. He has been looking for a fight all his life, and have been provoking it all his life as well. And it is this desire that Awa, the Navi god, will use to turn him against his own. But Jake is the perfect traitor. He has no real connections or bonds tying him to the rest of humanity. Just a whole heaping heck of a lot of grudges. He has seen Earth at its worst and has grown up on stories of Pandora, which he idealizes. Indeed, it may well be that it is the only thing he has any reverence for at all, because he is consistently uncooperative and selfish, endangering both himself and others by running around the moment he gets his Na'vi body. He makes absolutely no efforts to study or teach himself anything about his mission, or what the scientists or administrators expect of him. He only puts in an effort later to impress his native crush. And hell, we don't even need to go so far as to talk about loyalty to the mission, to the administration, to the people who are paying him, promising to fix him. Jake does not even care for himself. He is not even loyal to his person, as he gives up on his human form almost immediately. He stops eating, stops training, barely waters, and generally allows himself to waste away. This despite repeated promises by the RDA, by his superior officers, that they will fix his legs. They will restore him to full functionality in his human form. Promises that seem to have next to no effect on Jake at all. And to crown all of this, of course, Jake is incredibly selfish. It is always Jake first. Even when he is with the Na'vi, he acts this way. When there is a danger to his family, that they might be targeted by the RDA in the way of water, he leaves, putting his own safety and his family above everyone else's, leaving the resistance behind in its most challenging hour. He later then, amongst the water tribes, argues that they cannot fight the humans in order to protect their ancestors and their own family. To do so would be an enormous mistake and very, very dangerous. That is not what Jay really means, of course, because immediately as soon as his family are in danger, now everybody has to fight. Jake Sully didn't care about the forest Na'vi. Jake Sully didn't care about the water tribe Na'vi. Jake Sully only cares about himself and his family. And I don't even believe that to be a truly honest and honorable emotion. I simply think that Jake Sully likes having a family, and that is why he demands that all others must protect his family, whilst arguing vehemently against others protecting theirs. It is not that Jake Sully values family, it is that Jake Sully values the things that makes Jake Sully feel good. To put it very simply, Jake Sully is a bad person, and quite possibly the single worst person for the mission of negotiating with the Na'vi, a weakness that Awa immediately capitalizes on. Now, it may seem like I am giving the Na'vi goddess a little bit too much credit in terms of agency here, as she is supposed to be some vast spirit-like entity, etc. But the very first time that Tiri sees Jake, she is preparing to kill him with an arrow to the back, until one Atokilina, a seed of the world tree, a very pure and sacred spirit, lands on her arrow and makes her not take the shot. The Atokilina, of course, are the spirits of Awa, and this is Awa very clearly marking Jake for a special purpose, even being shown to surround him with these special spirits later. It is in no small part because of this that Jake is accepted by the Na'vi, despite again the fact that there is not an honorable bone in his body, which seems like a high level of manipulation for a forest goddess. But again, the movie hints over and over, and in essence damn near straight out states, that Awa is a form of super intelligence, a brain the size of a planet. Now, of course, simple size does not necessarily correlate to intelligence, but as Awa also acts in direct response to pleas for aid by sending her creatures to fight off the humans in the first movie, it seems entirely reasonable to assume that Awa is not only capable of taking an active part in this conflict, but is demonstrably doing so right now. So why should we not assume that she is also capable of gaining the services of collaborators? And in Jake, she chose exceptionally well. See, Jake and all the Avatar's intended mission was to establish negotiations and communications with the Na'vi to ensure as peaceful of a coexistence as possible. They had largely been unsuccessful in this, mostly because of the Na'vi. For example, a school had been established. It grew popular with the Na'vi children as it had colourful storybooks and exciting tales of different worlds. It's the kind of thing that the kids would love. But one day, some of the older Na'vi went out to attack a bulldozer, quote, setting fire to it. There's no further details about the dozer, but as they are massive damn things, setting one on fire would require significant effort. Later, we also see them being escorted by ground crews, meaning that it is quite likely the Na'vi attacked and killed them as well in the process of setting fire to the dozer, especially as security forces then pursue the attackers, indicating that security forces must have been relatively nearby and there were probably casualties, and the RDA seems willing to require significant material cost in order to get the natives on their side. If they are willing to spend God only knows how much on the Avatar program, and also willing to build schools and to write the Na'vi a blank check for anything in negotiations, it seems patently ridiculous that they would hunt down and kill a bunch of Na'vi children over a bulldozer. The Na'vi then escape to the school, hoping that the scientists can protect them. But a fight breaks out as we see tight groupings of bullet holes in the height of a fully grown Na'vi in the school. Yet again, the story says that they were but silly children that attacked the dozer. This is all very suspicious, especially when one takes into consideration Awa's proven ability to manipulate individuals as well. But as a result of this incident, in which Ntiri's sister is killed as a part of the attackers, the Na'vi close themselves off from the humans. Jake is the first human to have gained entry to the tribe's tree since. And so the RTA makes the mistake, the very predictable mistake, of trusting him with negotiations, authorizing him to make any deal, blank check, whatever the Na'vi wants, the company will provide. Jake is given 3 months to make a deal. Again, any deal whatsoever, any carrot to avoid the stick. And I stress that because Jake never even tries. Seriously, I know it sounds absurd, and the sheer length of the movie might have made you more or less forget that fact, but at no point does Jake even so much as mention the RDA's offer. He simply waves it away with like, there is nothing we can give them. Seriously? Humanity is colonizing space. Yet there is nothing our space-age civilization could possibly offer these stone-age neko-neko-nyanyas. No medicine, no culture, no communications. Hell, let's not even go that far. We can't offer them writing, math, more complex than 1 plus 1. This is a hunter-gatherer society whose oldest history is oral tradition reaching back a handful of generations. could, I suppose, then argue that, oh, but the Na'vi have a close connection with nature. They are happy like that. No, they don't know any better than that. They don't know any different. And of course, then, you cannot simply go up to the Na'vi and say, hey, would you like us to build you roads? Because the prehistoric savages don't even know what a road is. They don't have a concept of infrastructure. They don't know about refrigeration. They don't know what it's like to not be constantly hungry or spending the entire day just searching for food. They don't know about sports, entertainment, or art. They have no culture beyond what Awa has charitably bestowed upon them, which clearly isn't all that much, seeing as when the school was allowed to be open, the children were immediately enthralled by the simplest pieces of entertainment. And of course, our entire interpretation, or more correctly, the movie's interpretation of the Na'vi, are based not on reality, but on two key cultural misunderstandings. The first fundamental misconception in modern society is that which conflates primitivity with freedom. We perceive the Na'vi to be free if they are not bound by the strictures of civilized life. They don't have to get up in the morning to go to work, to earn a living from menial factory labor. The Na'vi can go anywhere they want. They can ride horses, fly banshees, and eat and sleep wherever and whenever they want. And when they do something, it is presented as exciting, adrenaline pumping, and dangerous, but not too dangerous. No Na'vi dies in the hunting scenes or taming the banshees, etc. And it's very much so for our benefit. But in reality, of course, a society such as theirs would be bound by other, far more constricting shackles. They would constantly be searching for food. There are no fat Na'vi. They must hunt and gather constantly or starve. If the animals leave, they starve. If they overeat the fruits of the trees, they starve. The Na'vi are utterly dependent on nature to provide for them, and would spend the vast majority of their time simply securing their own existence. Yet again, quite handily making it impossible for them to ever invent any culture beyond what Awa has once more graciously granted them. The second misconception is the myth of the noble savage. The idea that because someone is primitive, savage, they are morally more pure and noble than those polluted by civilization. A quick glance at the history of the Aztecs, or Dahomey, or even feudal Japan will quickly dispel any such notion. There is no innate purity in simply being primitive. Indeed, many of the inexcusable moral crimes of today, such as slavery, for example, was actually a significant moral step forwards compared to simply just genociding the defeated opposition, as was the norm in our own neolithic wars. The Na'vi are very much so based on the idea of the noble savage. The Na'vi believe themselves to have the truth, the one and only truth, the goddess's truth. They view, therefore, the sky people as ignorant and unable to understand their superior ways. It is difficult to fill a cup that is already full, is a particularly noteworthy line, for whilst it is meant to indicate that the humans are unwilling to understand the Na'vi, it also shows that the Na'vi refuse to understand the humans, as the kitty cat's cup is no less full, indeed, it is overflowing, as they are convinced that a space-age civilization has nothing to teach them, which once more complicates the task of diplomacy. It was Jake's and the other scientists tasked to explain to the tree cats that their home tree sits atop an enormous mineral deposit, the human was. They had 3 months to do this and find some sort of solution to move the Navi, or to extract the resources without destroying the whole tree, or literally any other way to fix this. Yet again, blank check. But Jake never even mentions it. Not at any point does he try to explain to the Navi that they are sitting atop resource that the humans will have, regardless of any other circumstance. Except that Jake spends his valuable negotiation time trying to fuck the chief's daughter. Which, by the way, absolutely nails it here. You find yourself some local tale and you forget the team you're playing for. Correct. And again, tale provided by a certain goddess. As far as the rest of the humans can see then, the administration, the RDA, etc., 3 months have come and gone, and Jake has taken 0 actions to explain anything to the Navi, even less actions to negotiate a settlement. And so, when he attacks one of their dozers, naturally they assume his ass has gone native. And they're correct. And they move to arrest him. Entirely justifiably so. In fact, literally justifiably so, as Jake has indeed gone native. The scientist's excuse for not taking any actions, because you'd think at least the other people would have done something. Well, they just shrug and say that, well, trees and stuff are sacred to the Blumies. They store memories in them, so nothing can be done. So we didn't do anything. And the reason why this is written the way it is it's obviously not convincing in the slightest. Yeah, but you didn't even try to convince them. Well, we couldn't. The reason they didn't try is because if they attempted to do so in the movie, it would undermine the Navi. Obviously, the Navi need writing. Obviously, the Navi need refrigeration. Obviously, the Navi need agriculture, etc., etc., etc. The countless things that a space-age civilization could give them. But if these were all offered, the only possible explanation for the Navi's refusal is their own absolute bigotry against anything human, and so that was neatly ignored. And
Are you seeing this? Voice language Japanese, because I watch animes with subs. Display language English, because I'm not too competent in reading Japanese subtitles on. Let me move the UI a bit. Click, 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 click. Audio check. Adjust the image on the left. What image? What image? Okay, I guess this is just barely visible. I can still see the legs, but I can't see the legs for this setting. Press F to confirm. Can I use my controller? Moving the controller? Yes, I can. A to confirm. Adjust the image on the left Adjust until the niche on the left is just barely visible. The whole thing is white. What's this? This is too white. This is, I can still see the hair. I guess this should be the setting. Adjust until the image in the middle of the screen disappears. If you cannot see the image at all, check your brightness settings. I guess this is the lowest. Following accessibility presets can be adjusted from the accessibility section of the options menu. Visual accessibility, audio accessibility, motion sickness. Please enter your age. Now this is sensitive. Should I enter my real age or my fake age? Maybe this is too young to get an M rating. Age 18. Okay, I can be enlisted into national service. After 2 years and 6 months of national service, this will be my approximate age. And I will be old enough to drink, smoke, and enter the elections. Okay, confirm. Is the age you enter correct? This will not affect gameplay, but it cannot be changed later. Please wait. I'm loading. What do you mean by this? It does not affect gameplay, but it cannot be changed. What is the meaning of this? Should I be reading the whole thing? Can I back? Can I go back? I cannot go back. The setting can be adjusted later from the data processing for analytical purposes section of the options menu. Okay, so in the future, if anyone asks uh, my age, then I'll just say, just assume I'm 21 years old. But I'm definitely not. This game says progress automatically. Okay, at least the audio isn't that robotic. You can still hear me talking. It sounds normal, similar to the YouTube video I've played earlier on. No background music. Oh, okay, it's starting. Well, hi, it's me, and back with another game stream. And welcome to Pragmata, the demo. And I've been seeing this game on my Reddit feed for quite a few days now. It got me wondering what kind of game is this? And it's not out yet. But there seems to be a free demo, so I was thinking, why not make some content out of it? And here we are. How's the pew pew? Graphics. Currently 1080p. Frame rate reaching. Off. Hair quality high. Texture quality high. Mesh quality medium. Hey, maybe my gaming laptop isn't that potato after all. Oops. I'll be playing this game in controller, so I have to make sure my mouse is not moving. I have no idea what these control settings are because I've not played this game before. Let's go with the default and see and how I'm going to be adapting. I'm a filthy casual. Okay, maybe not. I'll play the demo in standard difficulty. It's still too early for me to lose my gamer cells. This mode is recommended for players who like action games. This is the normal difficulty setting. Note, the difficulty can be changed to casual when incapacitated. Sounds like a certain android may cry. So, use your ammo. Primary unit to attack. Ammo will slowly recharge after use. Unlimited ammo. Left trigger the aim, right trigger the fire. I'm already regretting my decision to use controller already. Oh, stay away from me! No, stay away from me! No, why is the audio cut off? Reach the green X node to hack targets. Move the cursor across the hacking matrix and connect it to the EXE node to complete the hack. Placing enemies in an open state, making them vulnerable to gunfire. Left trigger aim, Y up, A down, X, left, B, right. Move the cursor. Or left trigger plus context menu to reset. Refined from a mineral unique to the moon known as Luna. Lunar filament can absorb and copy any information it comes into contact with, required for various upgrades in the shelter. During investigation of abnormalities at the Cradle, Hugh Williams becomes isolated and meets a young android, Diana. The two head to the top of the solar power plant to restore the main power, so they can tell Earth for help. One moment, let me change the video title to my live stream. Let's explore the Cradle. Alright, the video title has been changed. If you were to refresh your browser, you might be able to see the updated video title. Lunar base. Activates the key points. Press X to scan. Press F1. Cut. X. My health. I've taken close to 1/3 of my damage.
何か出てきたぞ。
ヒューがよっぽど怪しいのかな。
俺のせいか。
Dodging and jumping consumes thruster gauge. When the gauge falls below the set level, these actions are disabled. Right bumper to dodge. A to jump. Press A and hover. Press A and hold to hover. Axle integrity. Press Y to interact. I will need to upgrade the capacity to do more aerial maneuvers. Okay, the same heading organics. A, Y.
本エリアの金属ロックを解除しました。電力復旧には最上階の管理装置を再起動してください。
よし、まずは一つ解除だ。
Okay, let's try this one more time. Jump. There is an end. Come again. Is sitting down there. Out of visual range. New weapon, shockwave gun. An attack unit specializing in frontal suppression that fires powerful close-range shockwaves and makes the enemies easier to stagger. It becomes less effective as distance increases. Is this what we call a shotgun?
俺に任せろ。
Did I cut my weapon?
どこ行きゃいいんだ。
じゃあスキャンしてみる？端末があるよ。
本エリアの金属ロックを解除しました。
2つ目解除。
あと一つ。
Can't be interacted with. Vertical thrust. Parkour. Decode ×3. Hacking nodes yellow will have special effects that trigger when passed through while completing a hack. Passing through multiple nodes of the same type increases effectiveness. These nodes can only be used a limited number of times. A hacking node that disrupts enemy internal systems, temporarily increasing damage dealt. Repeated use on the same enemy reduces its effectiveness. Passing through multiple nodes of the same type boosts damage further. Seems like these drops are not stackable. And I'm almost dead. Warning, severe tremor detected. Warning, anomaly detected. This power plant has entered emergency mode. Cradle power output is currently limited to 35% of standard capacity. Trams and supplementary facilities are now non-operational. To To restore full functionality, restart the main power generator on the top floor under administrator supervision. Pretty sure it has 4 damage, but it's gonna be a pain trying to climb up again. How's it going? To Young Bay from Kevin. Things at the solar plant are in a word quiet. Grunts like us show up in the morning and check out what the boss have planned for the day, and then we spend the rest of the shift trying to look busy. Guess you're thinking, we're both engineers, but you ended up on the front lines of lunar development, and me, wish I could be out there too.
夫のおかげで暇で辛いか。随分と悩ましい問題だ。
ヒューも暇？
お気遣いどうも。だいぶ辛いが、おかげさまで暇ではないな。
Anyone guarding the space? Ah, I see. A shockwave gun is having final ammunition. You will have to drop the gun once the ammo count is finished.
本ブロックのすべての緊急ロックが解除されました。施設正常化のため、電力管理装置を手動で再起動してください。
なんとか耐えたな。電力管理装置というのはどこだな。
Anything else in the vicinity? Escape hatches. Escape hatches are checkpoints that Hugh can return to if incapacitated in battle. Diana must hack an escape hatch to activate it. In the full game, you can return to the shelter via escape hatches. At the shelter, your suit integrity will fully recover, and you can upgrade your gear, as well as interact with Diana. Left bumper. Press and hold. Stacy's net. A tactical unit that fires a spherical electromagnetic net. It expands on impact, immobilizing enemies within its radius for a short time. Duration varies by target.
このポットは一体どうなってるんだ。全部イカれてやがる。
攻撃してくるような子たちじゃないのに。
ああ、とにかく早く地球に救難信号を送らないとな。
Ammo count is pretty low compared to firefights.
ここに子供はいないけど、もしかしたらおもりなんかもできるはずよ。それイールスが管理してるから必要な場所に来てくれる。
マジか。じゃあ俺は何さんだ。全部ウォーカー任せで済むんじゃないか。
まあ人間は人間の得意分野をやればいいの。アイデアをひらめくこととか利益を追求することとかはね。さあおしゃべりはおしまい。実験結果の成果がかかりましょう。
Regarding hologram surveillance, the lion from Jacob, it has come to my attention that a simple mistake I made got caught on hologram, and now the recording is being spread around the cradle. I enjoy my work, but it doesn't foster a positive work environment knowing that everything I do could be the subject of criticism or a joke. Is it really necessary for all operations to be recorded with such strict surveillance? I regret to inform you, upon joining the Cradle, you agreed to a contract acknowledging that all areas, except for designated private zones, are subject to continuous 24-hour surveillance. Honestly, I sometimes wonder if the company is pushing the boundaries with this policy. But I suppose Delphi wants to leverage its access to state-of-the-art tech to strengthen security measures cradle-wide. I'm sorry I could not provide a more concrete answer, but rest assured, your concerns have been noted. Loading? Is this a boss area?
人か。早く地球に連絡しないと。
Welcome to the solar power plant. The key to living on the moon and advancing research and development was ensuring access to a stable power supply. It's fair to say that the advanced systems in place at our solar power plant has been the backbone for supporting Delphi's development and expansion of the Cradle, Delphi Corporation. should I go? Is there a way down?
どうも下に降りていってるが、俺たち最上階に行くんだよな。
きっとエレベーターとかであるよ。
Loot. Another hatch. And I guess this must be a boss room of some sorts. Usually you don't have such a large space to maneuver unless there's a hit and run tactic involved. And you see this on the ground? Ammo. Guess I'm in for a fight. Shields from direct damage serves as barricades. Dodge around these to escape the androids. Three consecutive dodges. Full air dash. No double jump. Timer refreshes if you release the hole.
That's gonna.
回数表示くらい欲しいところだな。
あの装置で電力が回復できるよ。
やっと着いたか。
The solar plant.
警戒状態を解除。メイン電源への接続を再開。電力供給進行中。30%、40%、50%、60%。
不正アクセス感知。電源供給を中止します。管理者イドスは未登録ゲストの滞在を許可しません。セクターガードに命じます。不正アクセス解消の探査。対象確認。異物を排除してください。
排除って私たちのこと？
らしいな。話の通じるもんじゃなさそうだ。やるぞ。こいつのこと何か知ってるか？じゃないんだな。なら遠慮なくぶっ壊すぞ。サタン。
アクセス開始。
体当たりかい。俺に任せろ。なんであんなにミサイルがある？便利なもんだな。飽きないやつだな。お前じゃないか。
Unleash a critical shot, a powerful follow-up attack when near a down enemy. Press right trigger near a down enemy. Is it a quick time event or just a heavier damage attack? Quick time event. When the hacking gauge feels Diana's ability, Overdrive Protocol can be activated. When used, it opens nearby enemies, immobilizes them briefly, and deals damage. The gauge fills by hacking. Press L3 and R3 when the hacking gauge is full to activate.
やったな。完璧だ。
やったぞ。
うまくいった時はこうするんだ。で、何を書いてたんだ。そろそろ教えてくれ。
あ、いいよ。ほら、これだよ。
A new record. I've completed the demo in 29 minutes and 8 seconds. Yay! Omedeto! 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 And is my world ranking number 8? Thank you for playing. The release date is the 4th of the 24th December 2026. Yes, I know. This is a US date time. So it's actually the April the 24th, 2026. Get the full game here. Press I for the online store. Visit the online store. Is my Steam overlay being captured by the stream? No, it's not. Okay. My privacy has been preserved. The Chekhov US IP, Pragmata, an all-new science fiction action adventure with its own unique hacking twist. Its near future, and protagonist Hugh and his android companion Diana must work together as they make their way through the cold lunar research station. Why is my voice so robotic while I'm browsing the online store? It's just opening an overlay. It's not supposed to be using that much resources. Alright. So new outfit, scribble suit unlocked. Change your outfit from the outfit option on the title screen. Wait, did I pronounce outfit as outfit? New ability. Fast moves unlocked. Dodge just before an enemy's attack to briefly slow time and create an opening for a counter attack. New weapon. Charge Piercer and Hacking Node multi-hack unlocked. Available for use once you find them in-game. So now it's New Game Plus. New Game Plus. Delphi suit. Scribble suit. Would it possibly have a mobile suit? An outfit change has been detected. Reloading data. New game, casual. Start the game on casual difficulty. This mode is recommended for players who are unaccustomed to action games. Enemies will be weaker. Aim assist will be turned on. Can be changed in the options menu. Note, the difficulty cannot be changed mid-game. The scribble suit. Okay, the tutorial panels appear once again. That's my ability to respond to fast moves. The enemy stays quite a long time in the vulnerable status. Attacks less frequently. I hope. Use less damage. I hope. And I'm probably gonna be incapacitated before I use the fast move. Maybe reduce one of the size first. I'll take the W.
そうだね。
さっきは何を書いてた？
内緒。後で教えてあげる。
まずは電力回復だ。急ぐぞ。おいおい、何か出てきたぞ。
ヒューがよほど怪しいのか。
俺のせいさ。食らいやがれ。ロック
開けてあげる。
本エリアの緊急ロックを解除しました。電力復旧には最上階の管理装置を再起動してください。
よし、まずは一つ解除だ。
Multi-hack. Hacking notes yellow has special effects that trigger. Okay, I read this before. A hacking node that links enemies together, opening multiple targets. Open time is extended, while damage to affected targets is reduced. Passing through multiple nodes of the same type extends open duration. Multi-hack times 2. Okay, this is the shockwave gun.
Ah, どこ行きゃいいんだ。
じゃあスキャンしてみる。端末があるよ。
本エリアの緊急ロックを解除しました。
二つ目解除。
あと一つ。それ。これでダメージを与えやすくなるよ。
I can only hold one type of hacking module.
これでまとめてやっつけられるね。
またいるか。ネズミみたいな扱いやがって。
すっかり嫌われちゃった。
好きでも嫌いでもここで片付けてやる。こいつそういかないぞ。
Did I miss anything? Quite a number of vertical areas for you to explore around. Test yourself on how agile you are. Coin suspended in mid-air.
なんとか耐えたな。電力管理装置とやらはどこだ？
Emergency kit that repairs minor damage to your suit. Did I use one earlier? Cartridge holder. A special holder designed to protect and carry repair cartridges. Increases the number of repair cartridges you can hold by one.
で持ちこたえられそうだ。
Nice. So instead of yellow paint, over here we have blue paint. Okay. Narrowly missed it. More like a straight corner.それでさっきは何を書いてた？またごめんねとか言うんじゃないよな。
今度は絶対大丈夫だよ。
当然無人か。早く中流に連絡しないと。どうも下に降りていってるが、俺たち最上階に行くんだな。
エレベーターとかがあるよ。
侵入者を探知、直ちに対象を排除する。
センサーを避けて。始めるよ。オープン。
やがれ。回数表示くらい欲しいところだな。
Switching up the sequence also helps.
あの装置で電力が回復できるよ。
やっと着いたか。
警戒状態を解除。メイン電源への接続を再開。電力供給進行中 30%、40%、50%、60%。
不正アクセス感知。電源供給を中止します。管理者イズスは未登録ゲストの滞在を許可しません。セクターカードに命じます。不正アクセス対象の探査を対処確認。異物を排除してください。
排除って私たちのこと
らしいな。話の通じるもんじゃなさそうだ。やるぞ。こいつのこと誰か知ってるか？
閉めてみて。
登録じゃないんだな。なら遠慮なくぶっ壊すぞ。なんであんなにミサイルがある？
このトーナメントで先制してるんだよ。
便利なもんだな。
チャンスだよ。
ここかい。
私に任せて。オーバードライブプロトコル開始。
おお、すごいな今の。 球で倒したいんだ。飛んでやるよ。
Stuck you. Not it yet.
今のこれか。
電力供給再開。
やったな。完璧だ。うまくいった時はこうするんだ。で、何を書いてたんだ。そろそろ教えてくれ。
あ、いいよ。ほら、これだよ。
So, what's the scribble gonna be like? Am I gonna be world number 4? Number 7? All that effort just to increase by 1 rank? I'll take it. And we are back at the screen again. And so I guess that's it. Any further rounds would just be time attack to see how to get a personal best. I'm not really a Souls-like player, so this kind of game is taking me a long time to adapt. As you can see, dodge mechanics, no parry, no melee, just a blind bum rush just to get to the end of the score. But I guess it's a interesting experience. I'm pretty sure the story will be very intriguing. Probably gonna be playing out like a sci-fi Dark Souls if you ask me, which I'm not against. In fact, I've played similar sci-fi Souls-like games in the past, notably The Surge, the first The Surge, and The Surge 2 its sequel. Although embarrassing to say, I did not complete The Surge 2 at all because the story wasn't as compelling as The Surge 1. But it was nonetheless an interesting experience. So if this is your kind of game, hope you have been attracted by the feeble gameplay I've presented in this live stream. Or if you are still undecided, hope this will be something that will allow you to have an educated purchase. But all in all, I guess I had fun. The demo size is about 7.2 gigabytes, so it's not going to be taking a toll on your PC hard disk. And I'm probably going to be uninstalling it. Got other games to play, other robots to fry. So I guess that's it. Thank you for watching. Subscribe. Click the notification button to be informed of future content. And I hope you found this stream to be satisfactory. See you in the next video. Bye. Before that, I'll just take a screenshot.